Chairman Issa, Ranking Member Cummings, members of the committee, my name is Dr. Bill Thierfelder. I'm the president of Belmont Abbey College, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to my really grave concerns about this health and human service mandate. Maybe to better understand who we are and why this issue of religious liberty is so important to us, let me just begin with the first sentence of our vision statement, which says, Belmont Abbey College finds its center in Jesus Christ. Our mission is to educate students in the liberal arts and sciences so that in all things God may be glorified. In this endeavor, we're guided by the Catholic intellectual tradition and the Benedictine spirit of prayer and learning. Emphasizing Benedictine hospitality, we welcome a diverse body of students, and we provide them with an education that will enable them to lead lives of integrity, to succeed professionally, to become responsible citizens, and to be a blessing to themselves and others. Our Benedictine tradition, which is guided by the rule of St. Benedict, which is really a scripturally based guide for how to live in community with one another, Chapter 53 of that guide is on the welcoming of guests. We welcome each guest in persona Christi, as Christ. And we do that regardless of someone's faith or background. We say, come on in, we love you. That's who we are. If you've never seen our campus, I first of all would invite you all to come. And I'd love to have you over and have a cup of coffee and get to know you better. But if you've been to our campus, it's beautiful. You will see the red brick, Gothic structured buildings that are there. And when those monks first arrived there almost 136 years ago, there was nothing on that property but 2 shacks with holes in the roofs. Those monks literally dug up the red clay, formed them into bricks, dried them in the sun, and placed those bricks there over 130 years ago. So this integration of our faith and the mission of the college is even more visible when you just see the buildings, the layout of the campus itself. When you drive up the main drive, we have a basilica, which is our church. By the way, some of the funding for that came from St. Catherine Drexel. That church is actually connected to the monastery, where we have the monks that live at Belmont Abbey. Connected to the monastery is actually the main administration building where my office is. So to demonstrate here that our integration, the sense of who we are as Catholic and our mission as a college can't be separated. It's essential to who we are. And now our struggle for religious liberty really began in earnest about 4 years ago when we were investigated for discrimination by the EOC because we did not provide abortion, voluntary sterilization, and contraceptives in our health care plan. When the mandate was announced, we had a heightened sensitivity to this issue because we viewed it as really another tactic, in this case maybe an extreme tactic, to coerce us into providing services that we find morally objectionable. Abbot Placid Solari is the head of the monastic community. He's also the chancellor of Belmont Abbey College. He and I meet regularly. We speak all the time about matters of the college. And so when this came up, we obviously discussed the mandate when it first came out in August. And really, at his urging and leadership, we both agreed that the best course was to take a defensive action by filing a lawsuit against the federal government, which was no small thing for a little place like Belmont Abbey College to do. But we thought that was what we needed to do at that time based on our experience. We presented the idea to the Board of Trustees, who unanimously approved the action, and with the help of the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, we filed a lawsuit against the Department of Health and Human Services. The response by Kathleen Sebelius was somewhat bewildering to us. We could not figure out what a year extension had to do with the issue that we were faced with. Basically, no amount of time would make the morally objectionable mandate somehow acceptable to us. Then, most recently, the President held a press conference to offer what I believe was a fatally flawed compromise. The reason I say this is that the President does not have the right or the authority to take away someone's religious freedom. And therefore, when talking about or offering a compromise, I don't understand how he can give back something that he had no right to take in the first place. So in this particular case, we specifically do object to being coerced into providing contraception, sterilization, and abortion-inducing drugs into our health care plan. But make no mistake, as important as those are to us, the underlying principle here is about our religious liberty. I believe you will discover that there are tens of millions, if not more, of Americans of all backgrounds and all faiths who are thinking just like we are. And I believe that they will not budge an inch on this issue. I think there can be no compromise when it comes to our right to religious freedom and right to conscience. And so I'm here today to ask for your help. This is an issue worth dying for, and many have. Many have made the ultimate sacrifice in order to preserve this right. So please ensure that every American's right of conscience and religious freedom is fully protected. Thank you for considering my plea, and God bless you and all your good work.
I understand that, well, I'm trying to understand exactly what the concern here is with the administration's policy. I understand that you do not want to pay for a service that you have moral objections to, but you're not being asked to pay for them. Studies show time and time again that expanding access to contraception is either cost neutral or saves money. According to the National Business Group on Health, a nonprofit organization representing large employers on health policy issues, the cost of adding contraceptive coverage to a health plan is more than made up for in the expected cost savings. Likewise, when the federal government added prescription contraceptives to the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program, it found that this caused no increase in the government's premium costs. Actuaries that have studied this issue have concluded that providing contraception is cost neutral. Additionally, the administration's accommodation allows employees to go directly to the outside insurance company and avoid any interaction with the religious school or hospital itself. Under the accommodation, none of the institutions you represent would be required to provide coverage precisely because of the administration's respect for your religious beliefs. Why is the accommodation not acceptable?
Because I don't see it as being any different than the original mandate. In other words, we still have a contract with a health care plan, a health insurer. The plan we have right now is that we can carve those out and say we don't provide those services. However, with this new plan, we would be forced to have an insurance provider that we would have to provide those services to our employees. You're saying we don't have to pay for it, but somebody's going to pay for it, and being that it's our insurance plan and our provider, we would be forced to pay them our premiums. They are going to then supposedly for free provide these services to our employees, and that I don't see the difference between the two. In both cases, our insurance provider would be covering it, whether the mandate was the original one or we have this new exemption.
And if you did not see it in the premium, you still would feel that you're paying for it? Is that
Yes.
it?
I thank the ranking member, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes. Dr. Thierfelder, thank you for being here today. I certainly appreciate your leadership of my favorite institution, my alma mater, Belmont Abbey, and appreciate your leadership in these tough times for the institution and what you've taken the institution through, as well as the monks and Abbot Placid as well. So just a few basic questions, just so we have this on the record. You are affiliated with a Benedictine institution.
A Benedictine monastery, Belmont Abbey, yes.
Okay. And as such, who is the decision maker about the tenets of the faith?
Well, the Abbot Placid as chancellor ensures that we are solid in terms of our mission. If you look at our articles of incorporation, the actual members of Belmont Abbey College Incorporated are the professed monks of Belmont Abbey.
Okay. So truly, when you describe the campus with a monastery at the heart of it, that is the incorporated nature of it as well.
Absolutely. It's central to who we are. In other words, the college is their apostolate. They came here, they're living out their vocation through this apostolate called Belmont Abbey College.
Okay. And since your founding, you've educated and helped and assisted non-Catholics.
I haven't been here the whole time, but yes, I mean that is what the monks have always done extraordinarily well. They've always reached out. We're in Gaston County, and for those that don't know Gaston County, North Carolina, there's a high rate of unemployment. There's a great deal of illiteracy and so forth. We provide, I think, an invaluable service to our community, and our adult degree program is 70% women. And if you look at our total enrollment of the College of Belmont Abbey College, you may think because we're a Catholic college, we must be all Catholics there. Maybe about 40% of all of our students are Catholic if you include the adult degree program.
But you are a Catholic institution.
Absolutely, and that's the whole point, and that's why this was so devastating to us, because our mission is to reach out, and as I said in my remarks, we welcome everybody as Christ. It's like, come on in, we love you. And so for us then to have to turn around and say somehow we can't welcome you in or you can't be part of our community is just averse to who we are.
So in essence, you're there as a result of the monks and the mission of the monks.
This was a call. I was not in higher education. I was in the private sector. I was in business. I was in sports medicine and sports law and sports medicine and so forth. I came here, and so did my wife and my family, because we really believed we were called to be at this college, and that's why we are here. It's because of that commitment. And I came because there was a Benedictine monastery that had a college.
Okay. So basically, what happens if this rule is put through? You're faced with a choice of either paying a $2,000 fine per employee.
Well, roughly right now for us, the cost of this would maybe be about $300,000 a year that we would have to pay.
Okay. And so you would either have to pay the fine or act counter to your faith.
Which we can't do. I mean, we just will not violate our religious beliefs. So we will have to find a way, depending on what happens, to get through this, but one of them will not be in any way sacrificing our moral convictions.
So pay the $300,000 fine or simply close down the college?
Well, you hope it would never come to that extreme. My hope is that there'd be intermediate steps. The unfortunate part would be if it came down to somehow limiting health insurance coverage or not being able to provide it in the same kind of way. I mean, that would be a terrible thing to do. I hope we would never come to that. I'm confident that we won't come to that, because I think hearings like this are made to maybe make these things better known and have a discussion. And obviously, may not be a lot of discussion in here today, but I'm sure people will be following this as I followed it. And my hope is that people will see the truth in this and realize that we need to do something about this. Okay,
so just for the record, how political are the monks on campus, and how political has Belmont Abbey been in its 130-year tradition?
Not political at all. I mean, if you know Benedictine monks, they're very quiet, humble men, who live and pray together. That is not what their interest and their life is not about politics.
So you've just been called to action based on the actions of this administration and with the EEOC and now with the HHS mandate.
I mean, this is really, as I said, I respect what the ranking member, Congressman Cummings, had said. This shouldn't be adversarial. We're not trying to get anybody. We're not trying to enforce our beliefs on anybody. However, our beliefs are really important to us. And so all we're asking is that we're not coerced into violating our religious liberty.